inspiration comes from everywhere in life. My own journey through childhood with my family, from culinary school to working with some of the greatest chefs in the world, have inspired not only my own cooking, but have given me a passion and determination to share those experiences and learning with the next generation of chefs.
Made possible by Olympus. The Olympus Stylus Tough camera is made to take whatever life dishes out, in or out of the kitchen. By Wine.com. With thousands of wines from around the world, gifts, wine clubs, and the information you need to make a wine selection. Wine.com for wine online. By Cuisinart and the elite collection of food processors. With 3 nested work bowls, a seal-tight lid for maximum capacity use, blade lock for pouring, and a 6-in-1 adjustable slicing disc. It's the next innovation for the modern kitchen. By Aquapana Natural Spring Water. Emerging from a deep spring near the Renaissance Villa Pana, Aquapana is dedicated to bringing the taste, history, and culinary tradition of Tuscany to life. Aquapana, from Tuscany for the art of dining.
Growing up in France, I was fortunate to have strong cooking influences surrounding me. I was not the best student, and at that time that meant I was headed to culinary school to learn a trade. Today, I go back to school to hopefully inspire the next generation of great chefs.
You have such a beautiful view here, it's amazing.
Right on the banks of the Hudson, it's a great location.
It's the best campus. The views from the rooms is amazing.
Our dormitory rooms have these $1 million views. It's really
it's
quite
incredible.
extraordinary.
I am with Dr. Tim Ryan, the president of the CIA, who has been at the CIA for how many years, Tim, now?
28 years.
28 years, so it's your house. The students that you send us are so well trained. It's incredible. You know, that the curriculum and the knowledge and the practice that they have, because obviously the knowledge is one thing, like learning in the books and so on, but they have to practice and they have to have knife skills and they have to be ready to be in a professional kitchen. Those students, when they come to our kitchens, know their place very quickly, they know how to integrate themselves. They are very helpful. Of course, it's an entry level in the kitchen, but they have a great formation.
Well, you know, in our industry, attention to detail is so important. And I think one of the many things that American chefs have learned over the years from French chefs is the importance of that attention to detail. And you and I are both fans of the legendary Fernand Pouant, who said,
"Oh yes,
the difference between a good restaurant and a great restaurant is the sum of a lot of little things done well."
Absolutely.
And Bernardin and you have exemplified that for many years, and that's why you're so successful.
You have done that with the school as well.
We're in the same industry, so we have to embrace that philosophy too. We believe in it.
Well, I remember when I went to culinary school in France, long time ago. Most of the time, it was the bad students who were shipped to the culinary school. And today things have changed a lot. And you were telling me that you received last year 50,000 applications?
50,000 inquiries, and we admit every year about a little over 1,000 students. So
that's incredible.
It is incredible, the popularity of our profession.
Yes.
And the caliber of people that are now attracted to it is really something that we didn't experience as young cooks.
No, absolutely not. It was, well, first of all, the industry was not regarded very highly. And it was not such a thing as glory in being in a kitchen. Today, it's a very prestigious, honorific title to be a chef.
Right.
And I think it's because of the help of television and media, and it has its plus and minuses. However, it has created a great interest in our industry. And then you can be selective when you accept the students.
That's right.
And it's already a plus. And then from there, obviously, if you take la crème de la crème, after the training, we get the very best.
Right.
At the time when I was in culinary school, it was very uneven in terms of quality of students. Some students were there, they didn't really want to be chefs. Some of them were passionate, some of them didn't know what they were doing there. But when you have such a demand and when you have a great curriculum like you have here, then you really create future champions in our industry.
It's my great pleasure to introduce to you Chef Eric Ritter.
I had a passion for eating, really. When I was a little kid, I had the luck to have two grandmothers, one from Provence and one from Italy, who were amazing cooks, and they were cooking soul food from Provence and Italy. And I was allowed to be in a kitchen with them, and they were very generous in terms of making believe that I was assisting them. However, I was really not doing anything except eating whatever I could find on those kitchen. And that really inspired me to one day say, you know what, I love food so much. The only way for me to be so close to the food and to enjoy the atmosphere of the kitchen is to really become a chef. You don't have to copy recipes necessarily all the time. Gaining experience and confidence, it's when you will find your style and when your creativity can come, but you have to always think with a certain logic. And the logic that you have to have as a chef is it tasting good? It's not about being overly original. It's not about creating a miracle. Sometimes chefs want to pair a Dover sole with a raspberry sauce. And at best is edible. Why bother, right? It's about creating great dishes.
Professional cooking brought out a passion in me that grew stronger and stronger with the mentorship of three great chefs. Joël Robuchon, who taught me the craft, Jean-Louis Paladin, creativity, and Gilbert Lecoz, who taught me to be a chef and run a restaurant. Every new cook at Le Bernardin work their way through all the stations. If they make it through, they become a sous chef, which means they run the kitchen with the chef. I am here with Eric Fricker, who recently became a sous chef.
Eric, you started with us, what, about 4 years ago?
Yeah, 4 years ago, a little less than that.
So you came with a little bit of experience.
I had some experience, right?
However, at Le Bernardin, experience or not,
Right.
you start always in the same station.
In the same
and
station,
we have
yeah.
a system throughout the kitchen. So we are going to go visit your first station in a restaurant.
Okay.
And you're going to explain to us how you felt and what you learned from that station.
Okay.
Because here we believe that creating that circuit around the kitchen really educates you.
Right.
And bring some strength in your education as a cook. But you started here, which means
Right.
it's what we call the fish pass, right?
Well, the important thing about the fish pass is you learn to identify the fish, right? You learn to identify it not by the whole fish, but also by what it looks like after it's cleaned. But you also get to start to judge freshness and quality, and how to clean fish. And you get to watch you watch the whole process of the kitchen, so you learn how to act as you come up the line.
How many weeks did you stay here?
I only stayed 1 week.
Because he was a trained cook.
Right, and I like the fish.
Sometimes some of our cooks don't have that experience and stay here for a longer time.
From this station, we went to the Garde Manger.
So this is a big station. We work a lot with raw fish, so you have to be extremely precise in terms of not only cutting the fish, being clean, but also the seasoning is key in this station.
Absolutely.
The previous station, seasoning was not important, you just bringing products to other cooks in the kitchen. But now, in this station, your food goes directly to the client.
Yeah, you really learn to be meticulous with your product in this, because a lot of the stuff you're working with is really small, so it all has to be perfect, because if it's not, we're going to send it back and make you do it again.
Yes.
So.
And it happened to you?
It happens to everybody.
Okay. And how long did you stay here?
3 months.
3 months.
3 months.
And then we moved you,
Next we went to the canapé station.
which is exactly here where we see nothing right now, but at night we have a mini station in this area where we prepare small canapés, which is like an amuse-bouche, a starter.
Right. And you're doing one dish from start to finish. In the garde-manger, you might share a lot of mise en place together. Like one might cut the fish, and someone might do the other part of the dish. But in this one, you're responsible for everything from start to finish. Sauce, protein, the vegetable, whatever else is on it. It's all you.
So how long did you stay here?
1 week.
1 week again?
1 week again.
Oh, you went
Yeah.
fast in our kitchen.
Well, up to here, and then things slowed down a little bit.
So from here we moved you to
To the veg station.
vegetable station.
The veg station, you are required to do a lot of veg for this side of the line. But you're also responsible for a few of the proteins that are easier to cook. It's kind of like a starter station for a cook who's going to work the line.
And I will say, I mean, you really feel now that you are part of the team, because for the first time you touch the stove.
Right.
You feel the heat, you feel
Right.
the pressure, much more than the other stations.
Yes. You're by yourself on the station,
Yes.
and now you're responsible for 3 or 4 dishes depending on the season. As opposed to the other ones where you have 1 dish or you might pick up 2 dishes. Now you have 3 or 4 dishes, and some of them are very popular that come out of this station. So you really got to be ready to work when you come into the veg station.
Yes. I will say also that you really learn how to listen to the voice of the chef, because the chef at the pass, which is on the front of the kitchen, really yell the tickets and call for what he needs. And then you need to listen very carefully. If you don't listen, you may miss 1 dish, and then 5 minutes later the table may be ready to go and we're missing the dish. So that's
important.
definitely focus that you learn in this station here.
Yes.
Let's go to what we call the hot apps.
Well, this is the hot appetizer station, and this would basically be either your second, third, or fourth course, depending on how many you're having during the day. And it could be all 3. You could get your second, third, and fourth course from this station right here. So now you're actually becoming more almost like a chef de partie in a sense, because
Chef de partie means what?
That you're in charge of the line, like
in charge of the line, which is not an easy task, because in charge of the line means you're managing people.
So-
how long did you stay in this station?
This station, I was here for 3 months.
For 3 months.
So the next station that you progress to is the monk station.
Yes.
And in the monk station, they name it that because this cook picks up the monkfish, but he's also responsible for poaching all the fish that comes out.
And I think, in terms of technicity, you learn how to cook properly a piece of fish. But did you learn more speed here too?
Yes, it's a lot faster pace over here. The end of our tasting menus, all pretty much the last 3 courses all come from the entree line. So you really got to be when the food starts to come out of here, you got to be ready to go. It's busy.
So how long did you stay in this station, for instance?
This station I stayed in for 6 months.
6 months.
6 months.
And now we are going to what we call the sauté station.
This is a very difficult station to work. You pick up almost every piece of fish that comes out in an entree plate comes out of this station. And if it doesn't all come at the same time, it's going to be overcooked by the time it gets out there. So if you're not fast, if you're not organized, if you're not focused, if you don't have a good sense of seasoning, if you don't communicate well, these are all the things that you learn from the other stations. If you can't bring that all together in the sauté station, it's going to be a really difficult ride for you.
You're not going to tolerate anything less than
Perfection.
perfection, absolutely.
Right, especially the chef on the pass. He's going to be the guy that's going to tell you how you're doing. In every station, you just keep building upon those same fundamentals.
But you become a more educated cook.
And now the next station is the sauce station. You're the senior cook in the kitchen now, and all the things that you've learned, all the tasting that you've done from every single station plays an important role in the sauce station, because you're now responsible for about 20 sauces either for the lunch or dinner.
But it's also the most challenging station.
It is.
In the entire kitchen, there's no doubt.
If you don't taste through this kitchen, and when you get to the station and you don't understand the flavors of all the sauces, it's going to be really hard for you to get them right, even after 6 months.
Yes.
It's going to take a long time.
That's the last station in a kitchen where you're responsible of producing something, but then you become potentially sous chef.
Right. I think we're really responsible for the consistency that goes on, because during the day when the cooks are doing their thing, we're going through and tasting and observing and making sure that everything is going to be up to the Bernardin bar. You have to have that go on every single day.
It's an easy position because the staff trust you, but if you make a mistake, they will bark at you in some ways, and if you make very, very often some mistakes, they will bite you.
Yes.
I mean, you know, as an image. And you have the chef on top of it, of the kitchen, who's me,
Right.
who's not going to be happy as well.
Right. Well, the sous chef, it's just an extension of the sauce job as well. Because as a saucier, you're looking to coax stuff out of ingredients. As a sous chef, you're looking to coax stuff out of your staff. You're trying to get them to bring the most out of them as well.
Yes.
So that's...
And sous chef also has a progression. You start as a junior sous chef, and then you evolve and get close to the chef. And one day, almost like a bird who's ready to fly, you go on your own and become the chef.
Yep.
Or you can stay with us forever.
It's your choice. Whatever, you know.
Exactly.
This is a good job.
After seeing all the steps of Eric Fricker in our kitchen and after seeing the students at the Culinary Institute of America, you realize that before you become a chef, you have to study a lot, you have to go through a lot of stations and master a lot of techniques. And now we are going to see a salmon recipe that will symbolize all the knowledge accumulated during the process of becoming a chef. I'm going to start to reduce some red wine, and we are going to make a beurre rouge, a red wine butter. We are going to infuse it like a béarnaise sauce. Béarnaise is a very different sauce than a butter sauce, but it has some similar elements than the beurre rouge. So we are going to infuse in our red wine and vinegar some tarragon. We are going to put some cracked black pepper, and I'm going to slice some shallots. So the shallots need to be sliced thinly, but not too thin. And I'm adding the shallots to the liquid. And then we're going to let it boil and reduce together. When we are cutting leeks, we never use the leeks on top of a cutting board directly. We put the leeks on a sheet tray because they may have some sand. And if you let the sand go into the wood, then it's very difficult to remove it. And sometimes the sand will come up when you cook something else on your cutting board. So we are going to remove the top of the leeks. This part is very bitter when you cook it. So we always remove the green. Then I'm going to remove right here the roots. And I'm going to split the leek like that, here and here. And I'm going to go clean the leeks in a sink. And now we are ready to cut the leeks in a julienne. We are going to split the leeks. I'm starting with this angle here with the knife, and I'm going to cut what we call a julienne with this one too. So I'm going to have this rotation at the same time as slicing the leek. And the knife never leaves the cutting board. The knife slides on the cutting board. I'm going to put the julienne in a pan, and we are going to cook our leeks with some chicken stock, a little bit of butter, some salt, and some pepper. And I'm going to cook the leeks until they become very tender. So we are calling that braising the leeks, because they're going to cook slowly until tenderness. And I'm going to go get the salmon. I'm going to cut a nice slice. And you see the fillet has been already trimmed. We removed the skin from the fillet. So you have to be very precise, not to lose some flesh. So you see all those white lines here is the level of fattiness of the fish. Season the salmon with some fine sea salt, always on both sides. And that again is one mistake cooks make in professional kitchen. They forget to season on both sides. I'm going to use some white pepper. The white pepper being less visible than the black pepper. Add some water in this pan. You see, just a tiny bit. And we are going to bring the water to boil. And in the water, I didn't put any seasoning. No acidity, no salt, no nothing, because I want to keep really the flavors of the fish. The water is boiling, and I'm going to put the salmon in a pan, like that. Make sure it doesn't stick to the pan. And we are going to let
the heat comes from the bottom. We call that cooking unilateral. And this is a technique coming from Scandinavia where they cook the fish only from the bottom. At the end, what's going to happen is that the salmon will have that kind of color on top, but will be fully cooked, rare, warm in the middle. And it's really a great way of cooking salmon because you really taste the fish. Now I'm looking at my reduction and it's almost done. You can see that it's very thick, syrupy. It's because of the wine has reduced and he has a lot of body and therefore the reduction is very thick, rich. Sauciers should always test their sauce every step of the way. I have a nice flavor from the tarragon. I feel the pepper. I feel the acidity from the vinegar. The red wine brings a lot of sweetness and some body to the sauce. And I'm ready to pass it through a sieve or chinois or colander. We are going to discard the aromatics, which is the shallot and the tarragon. And I'm going to bring the sauce back to boil, this time with no aromatics in it. And you see the salmon is cooking very gently. I don't want the water to boil too much. I just want a nice simmering in it. With a spatula, I'm going to make sure that the fish doesn't stick to the pan. My reduction is going very fast. I'm going to lower the heat. I'm going to let it reduce a tiny bit more. I'm just going to bring some liaison with some butter. The butter will bring richness to the sauce, but the butter also will bring some nice flavor to my sauce. And when you incorporate something rich like butter or oil, you have to make sure that the liquid is boiling. So we are going to add the butter and whisk it, making sure that it gets incorporated into the sauce. So when you are a saucier, you have some basics that you use, but you have to use your instinct and your intuition and obviously taste. You see the sauce has a beautiful color and a nice consistency. I'm going to remove the leeks, first of all, from the broth on a small plate. So the salmon is finishing cooking. I'm going to add some of the elements of the sauce on top of the salmon for presentation and for flavor. So I'm using some of the shallot and I'm going to put it in the middle right here, all along the fish. I don't want to put too much because it will overwhelm the qualities of the fish. A little bit of black pepper for the spiciness. A little bit of the tarragon. Tarragon has a nice anise flavor. I'm going to put the leeks in the center of the plate. And the preparation looks a little bit fancy. However, in my mind, I'm thinking flavor. You have to be very, very careful not to add too much and to break the balance in between the vegetable, the fish, and the sauce. So I'm removing the sauce, finishing to whisk it. I'm going to sauce the salmon. And you have beautiful colors, but most important, you have beautiful flavors. So this really represents well the history and the evolution of a cook, from cooking basics like leeks to cooking fish to ending up with something very complex like a sauce. It's a beautiful dish. All the elements go well together and complement the salmon. At home, it looks like a simple dish, but in a professional kitchen, it involves so much talent, from the sous chef controlling the food coming to the restaurant, to the cooks who are preparing the vegetables, the ones who are butchering the fish, cooking the fish, and the saucier, of course, making the sauce. At the end, you have something very harmonious, very beautiful, and delicious. Santé, cook from life.
This offer is not available in stores. Eric's latest book, Avec, is the companion to his Emmy Award-winning TV series. Filled with over 100 recipes, it captures Eric's adventures in stunning photographs and takes you to the source of inspiration. You will also receive a 3-DVD set of the new season of Avec, including 13 Perfect Pairings episodes with Aldo Sohn. The cost for all of this is $44.99, a savings of 25% off the list price at aveceric.com/TV. To order, call 1-866-469-ERIC. For more culinary inspiration with Eric, visit his website for free access to recipes, exclusive wine pairings and videos, and download Avec Eric multimedia and mobile apps. Join the Avec Eric community. Log on to aveceric.com.
Made possible by Olympus. The Olympus Stylus Tough Camera is made to take whatever life dishes out. In or out of the kitchen. By Wine.com. With thousands of wines from around the world, gifts, wine clubs, and the information you need to make a wine selection. Wine.com for wine online. By Cuisinart and the elite collection of food processors. With 3 nested work bowls, a seal-tight lid for maximum capacity use, blade lock for pouring, and a 6-in-1 adjustable slicing disc. It's the next innovation for the modern kitchen. By Aquapana Natural Spring Water. Emerging from a deep spring near the Renaissance Villa Pana, Aquapana is dedicated to bringing the taste, history, and culinary tradition of Tuscany to life. Aquapana, from Tuscany for the art of dining.